Oh, I've never voted in my life. And they used to sit in their drawing rooms, they are criticizing the government. They have no moral right to criticize the government when you have not moved a finger to go to the polling station and vote. Political parties try to abuse the system by, pushing in many bogus voters and getting genuine voters deleted. Oh, this guy is dead, whereas this guy is very much alive. He lives there. Oh, he has migrated to Bombay while he is still there. So there is a study which shows that if the elections are simultaneously, 77% people vote for the same party, and if they are staggered by 6 months, it comes down to 61%. And if it is staggered a little more, you have the daily results. We did a campaign called Pappu campaign. There was a very famous song those days, Pappu Can't Dance Sala. How can Election Commission sit in judgment? It is for the voter to sit in judgment, and it is for the political parties and media to remind the voters. All of us taxpayers will be paying all this money for politicians' irresponsible behavior.
Good evening, Dr. Quraishi. Thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule to speak to us and answer our questions regarding the Delhi Assembly elections as part of the research report that we are working on and that we intend to release on the 31st of this month, that is tomorrow. So thank you for agreeing to this on such a short notice. To start off, we have a general question. Over a decade has passed since you served as the Chief Election Commissioner. And in that time, the prevalence or usage of social media has increased quite a bit, and it's also deeply pervasive in the rounds of campaigning that have been occurring in the Delhi Assembly elections as well. This is linked to a nomenclature for the era that we live in, the post-truth world, where it's very easy to come up with AI morphed videos or statements or WhatsApp forwards and so on. How do you view the discourse, the political discourse, the electoral discourse in the light of these challenges?
Well, I personally feel it's a major challenge. 2014 general election was the first social media election, officially described as such, and since then it has only become more so. Social media has assumed very serious and alarming proportion. The fake news, the deep fakes and rumors, they have multiplied manifold. So rumors were always a problem in election for decades. But in this age, when in 1 minute it will spread to millions of people, that has created a very serious situation, and which is why Election Commission about 10 years ago came out with some regulation, and many people pounced on the Election Commission. How can you regulate the social media? At that point, I wrote an article, I think in the Outlook, when I argued that social media is also media. And media has some regulations, and in the context of elections there are two regulations. Number one, you have to explain, you have to submit the expenditure incurred on the buying of media. So if you are spending some money on social media, you have to declare it to Election Commission. Secondly, the content regulation of the campaign on video and newspaper is also regulated. So social media should also be regulated. The next question was, how do you catch them, because they are all anonymous? There I wrote that difficulty of catching cannot be the reason that we will not touch it and will not look at it. It is difficult to catch a rapist, a dacoit. So does it mean we make it legal because it is difficult to catch, so we can't do anything, so let it happen? It may be difficult now, but it may become easier later. So you have to make laws, which is what has happened in the last 20 years. And now in the age of deep fakes and artificial intelligence, it has very serious implications. Of course, it has benefits and it has dangers. Benefit is we can use artificial intelligence to detect fraud and cheating. And we can use artificial intelligence to cheat and defraud people. So that is the situation, and the whole world, and not just election, whole world has to face this challenge, and we have to find guarantees that there will be safeguards against deep fakes, which can really, seriously, in 1 minute, the country can be set on fire. One bad rumor that this is what has happened to somebody or the other, and this is so and so is responsible, country will be on fire. No time to cross check, so which is why we have to act very responsibly. We have to be very concerned. So that's the answer. And one solution which I have, partial solution which I have tried to suggest, I've been defending multi-phase election all these years. Because, and I used to say that this is a way to save lives. Because we require, there used to be 100 murders on the poll day 20 years ago. And ever since we started deploying paramilitary forces, that kind of violence disappeared. Now, the forces availability is limited. So, for instance, Home Ministry, we negotiate with them, they give us say 800 company. And our sensitive and hypersensitive, both the number is larger. So we recycle this force in 2 phases, so that all the sensitive booths are covered. 6 phases, 7 phases. Now we find that while the forces take 4 or 5 days to move from one phase to the other, the gundas in their swank SUVs, they move to the next constituency in 6 hours. So it gets neutralized. So therefore it is, and secondly in the social media age, it prolonged 2.5 month election, all kinds of negative and mischievous publicity which can go on. So it is better, safer to reduce it to the shortest duration. And I've suggested in one of my articles in Indian Press that we can do it in 32 days. One phase, but just give us paramilitary forces, adequate number. I would say about 4,000 companies. One company has 80 to 100 people. Give us 4,000 companies at one go, but not for 3 months, but for just 1 month. So that's an immediate response.
And are you satisfied at the level at which the discourse has actually responded to this challenge? Because you've indicated that it's a serious problem. But are you satisfied with, let's say, the attention that the mainstream media has given to these issues?
Well, mainstream media has not been playing its role, unfortunately, for various reasons, which are very well known. Which is why social media has even made mainstream media irrelevant. You don't wait for tomorrow morning to read the newspaper, because on social media you'll get the news in the next 30 seconds. So to that extent, it's a good thing, but it ultimately depends on how are you using it. If you are using it destructively, negatively, it's a bad thing. If you are using it positively to send out messages, constructive messages, it's a good thing.
So with the push for one nation, one election, that is deeply and widely discussed across certain blocks in our country. So how do you think this initiative will impact the dynamics of local governance in Delhi, since we are covering report on Delhi election, so particularly concerning the representation of grassroots issues?
Well, since you're referring to only Delhi, you would notice that one nation, one election principle has been in practice in many states. But in Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party won 67 seats out of 70. 8, 9, 10 months later, BJP won all 7 of Lok Sabha seats. So what if the elections were held simultaneously? Now, although the proponents of one nation, one election say that voter is very intelligent and they vote very cleverly, look at Odisha, they vote for one party for Lok Sabha, another party for Vidhan Sabha. But then there is a study which shows that if the elections are held simultaneously, 77% people vote for the same party. And if they are staggered by 6 months, it comes down to 61%. And if it is staggered a little more, you have the Delhi results. Totally dramatically opposite results within 7-8 months. So if they were simultaneous, we really don't know what would have happened into the Delhi Assembly, or what would have happened to the 7 Lok Sabha seats. We don't know.
Yes, so continuing to talk about Delhi itself, it's a region of great linguistic and cultural diversity, right? And consequently, we get to see that not all ideas are clear and comprehensible to a lot of voters, because there's a communication gap of sorts. So, as the former Chief Election Commissioner, how do you think the EC can seek to counter this gap?
Well, there are 2 levels. Communication, the Election Commission surely has a big role. And in fact, when I was in the Election Commission, not even the CEC, when I saw very low voter turnout in metros and big cities, I was very concerned. And I moted the idea of having a voter education division. And I was opposed. They said educating the voters is not our job. Let the politicians do, let the media do. And I said, no, nothing doing. It is very much our job. And why? Even there is low voter turnout. Imagine there is only 20% turnout. And the votes are divided over 10 candidates. You win you get 10%, but you are still the winner. 90% people have not voted for you. Is it a true representative democracy? So it therefore raises question of your legitimacy. If it leads to legitimacy of an elected candidate, that is where educating voters becomes a major issue and Election Commission responsibility. So we set up, in my time, a voter education division, and we did an extensive program. And the same people, so-called educated people in urban areas, they were not voting and yet bragging about it. Oh, I've never voted in my life. And they used to sit in their drawing rooms criticizing the government. They have no moral right to criticize the government when you have not moved a finger to go to the polling station and vote. So our voter education division took it up as the challenge, and our first experiment nationally was done in Delhi. We did a campaign called Pappu campaign. There was a very famous song those days, Pappu Can't Dance Sala, if you remember.
Yes.
We taking that and we made 16 small films and videos ridiculing this Pappu who doesn't vote. He can dance also, he can do everything, he's otherwise a great hero, but he doesn't vote, so we lampooned him. Idea was that instead of a fashion statement, oh, I've never voted in my life, we should make them hide their faces. And this campaign did it. So when we declared that the guy who doesn't vote is a Pappu, so the same people who used to brag were showing their finger very proudly, look, I voted, I'm not a Pappu. So, attitude change.
Yes.
So that's why voter education is extremely important. And for politicians, because also it's very important that they should not be distributing liquor, money, any bribes. So in fact, they should also, along with us, educate people to vote honestly. Because if you vote for me for 500 rupees, mind you, for 5 years I'm your MLA, I will not do anything for free for you. I'll charge you 5,000 rupees. Now, is that a good deal for you? So, taking anything as a bribe is a wrong thing, and voter education must deal with it.
Definitely, sir. Very rightly said. And building on this discourse, sir, the case we consider as the jewel of the Indian Constitution, 1973 Keshwananda versus State of Kerala, which clearly mentioned that Loktantra democracy is the integral part of a basic structure doctrine. And at the same time, sir, when we talk about the electoral politics, which also skew the land masses, their judgments, and the major prominent feature in this are the freebies. Freebies act as an electoral mechanism which is appeasement of a sort. So, sir, how these freebies pose challenge to the MCC that is implemented in the whole nation when the nation goes to elections, and how are these things very, I would say, reluctant to notice the things that are happening on the negative fronts.
Freebies has been a debate for the last 15 years, and it even went up to Supreme Court, I think, in 2013. And personally, I feel it is impossible to stop freebies because they are declared through the manifesto. Manifesto is a legitimate legal document. Political party has to announce its policies and programs to the people so that they choose their party. So the case went up to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, instead of declaring freebies illegal because it's impossible, it's not practical, so they referred it to Election Commission. Look, call all the political parties, form some guidelines for freebies. Election Commission realizing that this is not a feasible thing, but since the Supreme Court has asked, they went through the drill half-heartedly and called the political party. All political parties pounced on the Election Commission. How dare you stop? How can you stop? Shall we not issue our manifesto? Will we not make our announcement through the manifesto? It is our promise. So Election Commission then came out with wishy-washy guidelines. You should be very responsible in making announcements, because there is no way Election Commission can monitor. Many people say that Election Commission should monitor whether you fulfill your promises of 5 years ago. How can Election Commission sit in judgment? It is for the voter to sit in judgment, and it is for the political parties and media to remind the voters, look, this candidate, this party had made so and so announcements, as they have they delivered, and voters should decide. So Election Commission should not be dragged into it, which is what I've been saying. And unfortunately, the same situation continues today, that while it has become very, very dirty, at the same time, perhaps it will neutralize itself. Every party is offering more of the same. Somebody is offering a bicycle, the other one has motorcycle, this, that, and the other. So a situation will come, and vote for any party, you will still be getting something, or maybe the same thing. So there, once we had gone to Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Tamil Nadu has a big financial issue, where money plays a huge role. After the next day we went to Kerala, and when we asked the politician, what is the situation in Kerala about money, he said, what problem? We don't have any problem. We were surprised. He said, look, you have such a long border with Tamil Nadu, they have such a serious problem, and on top of that long border, you have petrodollars coming in, you should have money problem. He said, no, our voters are smart and intelligent, because they cannot be bribed. Even if people are offering their money, they will vote according to their conscience or their choice. So therefore, we don't even waste our money, because we don't know whether they are going to vote. So unless the voter, and this is a part of voter education, we have to tell the voters, look, if you don't like this, all of them are going to offer you anyway. So, but you vote according to your conscience, and if you think somebody is overdoing it, so you should vote against them. Because it is playing havoc with our India's economy. The way, after all, where does the money come from? Lavish promises, so here, there, direct benefit, there, transfer, this, that. Many of them are very good. I've been actually supporting them. Because there was a time when Rajiv Gandhi said, if you send 100 rupees, only 15 rupees will reach the people. So at least if somebody promises a TV, the whole, it is not that empty box will come. It will come with a TV. It's a shortcut to enriching people. The other is enabling them to earn the TV themselves. But that will take a long time. So that's why these shortcuts. But irresponsible promises, which are difficult to fulfill, ultimately it will lead to taxation. All of us taxpayers will be paying all this money for politicians' irresponsible behavior.
Urban migration continues to shape Delhi demography. So how should the Election Commission adapt its strategies to ensure that electoral needs and the voices of newly settled population are adequately represented?
Well, migration is a constant phenomenon, not just in Delhi, in all over the country, or from villages to the big cities, big towns. It happens all the time. And that is where the challenge for the Election Commission is to update the electoral roll. You should not lose your right to vote. So suppose you come from Bihar to Delhi, and here you are not registered, and it's not easy for you to go back to Bihar, which is why the rules provide choice to the voter to enroll at your new place. In fact, the law is that you should be enrolled at a place where you're permanently resident. And permanent residence is defined as 6 months or more. So if you have come, even as a student, if you have come for more than 6 months, enroll in Delhi. And after 3 years, when you go back to your town and state, it can be changed. You can, it's easy. Earlier, it used to be very difficult for you to get your name cancelled there and registered here. Used to be very difficult. So it was in our time, not when I was CC, but even before me, this issue came, and we said we'll make it easy for you. You fill up your Form 6 and give us details of your previous address where you were a voter. Give us the detail. It is not for you to get it deleted from there, because you can't go back. It costs. Onus is on us. We will get it deleted. So you have discharged your responsibility so that you are registered here. Now there are many voters who still continue to prefer to be registered at their home place. That's their choice, because they think they need political power there. So it is up to them. Only thing is that when the election happens, they go back, and it costs them money. Sometimes the people say that there should be, for this issue, there should be re-election, and even in the case of simultaneous election, there will be an election 100 days apart. Now, you can't expect that you come back for Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha election now and come back again after 100 days. Your employer may not give you leave. So, and in which case, if you are not able to vote, your very basic right is taken away. So, but ideally, you should get yourself registered where you are. Now, you need political empowerment back home in the village, or do you need political empowerment here? Here, your political empowerment, according to me, is more important. If you do not become voters, your colonies will not be recognized. You will not get all the facilities where, these people are, approved and offered many goodies and everything. So which is their political power, because they are registered here. If they are not registered here, nobody will even go to them.
Just one final question, which is related to the previous two questions. Delhi as a metropolitan city attracts people, also has a cosmopolitan nature by virtue of being an economic nodal point in our country. At the same time, there is a lot of, let's say, stratification even within cities in certain areas. And in the mainstream political discourse, there is this notion that illegal immigration, especially from, let's say, people who are casually dubbed as Bangladeshis or Rohingyas, they are being added to voter lists, and this is something which is to a great deal a issue in the perception of the voters. As a former CEC, do you think it's that easy for someone to just come and get added to the voter list, or is this just an act of xenophobia in your opinion?
No. It is not that easy, because when you apply in Form 6 as a voter, so our BLO visits that home and will talk to the neighbors. So this is cross verification. So, and when they say yes, we know so and so, he has been living here. Even homeless people. If some beggar comes to us that I have no home, but I sleep under this tree or outside this shop, so we cannot debar him from election. For him also, again, to neighborhood shopkeepers, they say yes, this guy sleeps here, so we enroll him. So the verification, because there is door-to-door verification. If somebody out of carelessness or mischief or corruption doesn't do it, they're failing in their duty, then serious action can be taken. And election commission has to be very vigilant. And of course, political parties try to abuse the system by, pushing in many bogus voters and getting genuine voters deleted. Oh, this guy is dead. Whereas this guy is very much alive, he lives there. Oh, he has migrated to Bombay while he is still there. So this kind of thing happens all the time, for which election commission has the primary role. They have to be very vigilant. And the booth level officer has been appointed as he is a local person, he or she. Typically in a school teacher, she knows everybody knows her, so you can go to her house asking to see the electoral roll, whether your name is there. If not, she gives you Form 6. If there is a mistake, she gives you Form 8 where you make the correction. And then the other thing is the neighbors say that this guy has migrated there, where a lot of dishonesty is happening. Nobody is very much there, but just to get them illegally deleted, they well now the rule is that I cannot delete your name unilaterally. If I have to delete, I have to give you 7-day notice, personally visit and written notice. If you are not there, it has to be pasted outside your door. So that irresponsibly, by cheating, your neighbors and others cannot get you deleted.
So these, I think these notions are then xenophobic because it's linked to political manipulation rather than some group coming in as intruders, quote unquote.
Absolutely. You know, politics, unfortunately, is not just competitive, it has become very dirty. So, and which is what Election Commission is concerned about. We would like it to be clean. The Model Code of Conduct, I do suggest that you download, all of you, Model Code of Conduct. And it was the creation of political parties themselves. How they promised to keep the election campaign clean. No personal attack. We will not disturb each other's meeting. We will not distribute free liquor and no bribery, no corruption. The Model Code is a great document and it needs to be enforced. And whenever there is laxity in its enforcement, it leads to questions and problems.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Quraishi. Let us work towards ensuring that election works.
Congratulations to you, young people, and would like to congratulate Hindu College Caucus. I have attended 1 or 2 of your functions. You guys are very, very bright, and you are so socially conscious and responsible. I wish you all the luck and more strength to your elbow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.